The red lights are behind you, and the officer is already at your window.
One bad answer can turn this stop into a nightmare. Have you ever said too much during a traffic stop? Yes or no? This moment catches people off guard every day. It feels like a simple question, but it is not simple. The officer sounds calm. The question sounds casual. That is exactly why so many drivers walk right into trouble. Most people think being chatty will make the stop go better. Here's what most people do wrong. They start explaining. They say they had one beer, or two, or only with dinner. They think that answer sounds safe. This is exactly where things fall apart. Now the officer has an admission. That means you gave them words they can use later. Most drivers have no idea this is even a thing. They think honesty means telling the whole story right away. But there's a huge difference between being polite and helping build a case against yourself. A traffic stop can change fast. 1 minute you're handing over your license. The next minute you're standing on the road. Your voice matters in that moment. Your words can either calm the stop down or make it worse. That is why this topic matters so much. A lot of people do not get in trouble because they were reckless. They get in trouble because they talked too much. They filled silence with bad answers. And once those words are out, you cannot pull them back in.
That is the danger. I have studied real traffic stop situations for a long time.
I have gone through body cam footage, court records, and real driver encounters. I have seen the same mistake happen again and again. Good people panic, talk, and hand over more than they had to. Here's the first move, and it is the one that saves the most people. I call it the quiet reset. The problem this solves is simple. When the officer asks if you have been drinking, your brain wants to explain. You want to sound normal. You want to sound harmless. So you start talking before you think. That is when people say the worst line. They say, just one. They think just one sounds small. To the officer, it sounds like a green light. Now the stop is no longer just about a light or a lane change. Now it becomes about alcohol. And here's the trap. If you say no after drinking, that can look like a lie. If you say yes, even a little, you just help the officer.
So do not play that game. Say exactly this. Officer, I choose to remain silent.
That line is short. It is calm. It does not argue. It also does something very important. It uses your right to stay silent. That means your words stop being easy evidence. You're not fighting the officer. You are not refusing to identify yourself. You're not making the stop harder. You're simply not answering questions that can hurt you. That is a smart move. A lot of people worry this sounds rude. It does not if you say it calmly. Your tone matters. Your face matters. Your hands matter. Keep your hands where the officer can see them. Speak evenly. Do not smirk. Do not whisper it. Do not bark it. Just say it like an adult who knows the line. This phrase also stops the panic spiral. Once you say it, you do not have to invent a story. You do not have to guess what sounds believable. You do not have to remember what you said. You are out of the word trap.
That alone protects you. And remember this part. Silence is not the same as disrespect.
You can still say hello. You can still be calm. You can still hand over what the law requires. But you do not have to answer fishing questions. Fishing questions are questions meant to get you talking. Have you been drinking is one of the biggest ones. It sounds tiny. It is not tiny. It is often the first brick in a bigger case. Do not hand them that brick. Also, do not try cute jokes. Do not say, only water, officer. Do not say, not enough. Do not say, depends who is asking. People think humor lowers tension. In real life, it often makes things worse. Now the officer thinks you are hiding something, or they think you're not taking the stop seriously. You do not need a clever line. You need a safe line. And this one works because it is clear. It leaves less room for mistakes. Once you say it, stay with it.
Do not say the line and then keep talking. That ruins the whole move.
You cannot claim silence while filling the air. The quiet reset only works if you actually reset. Say it once, then stop. If the officer repeats the question, repeat the line. Do not add extra words. Do not explain why you're saying it. Do not defend it. The more you explain your silence, the less silent you are. That defeats the point.
This is how you stop a bad stop from getting worse. Silence is not guilt. It is control.
Now this next one is where most people completely fall apart. I call it papers only. The problem here is that drivers mix up two different things. They think if they stay quiet, they must refuse everything. That is not smart. It creates extra tension for no reason. In many stops, you still need to provide basic documents. That usually means your license, registration, and proof of insurance. So if you go totally mute and refuse the basics, the stop can get messier. That is not the goal. The goal is simple. Give what you must give, and nothing more. This is the balance most drivers miss. They either overshare or they act combative. Both moves can hurt them. You want the middle lane. Say exactly this. I will provide my license, registration, and insurance, but I am not answering questions. That line is powerful because it separates compliance from conversation.
In plain English, you are doing the required part. You're not refusing the stop.
You're refusing the interview. That matters a lot. Officers ask questions in a calm voice for a reason. They want you relaxed. Relaxed people talk. They answer where they came from. They answer where they are going. They answer who they were with. They answer what they drank. Then all those little pieces get stacked together. That stack can become a problem fast.
This line cuts that off. It tells the officer you understand the difference.
You know the stop is real. You know documents may be required. But you also know questions are not the same as commands. That is a big mental shift. It helps you stay steady. It keeps you from drifting into nervous chatter. And nervous chatter is dangerous. People in stress say strange things. They forget times. They mix up places. They guess instead of knowing.
Now, the officer thinks the story changed. Even if you are sober, that can look bad.
Another reason this line works is tone. It sounds responsible. It sounds cooperative. It sounds controlled. That matters because you do not want to create the image of a driver who is escalating. You want to be boring. Boring is good in a stop. Calm is good. Short is good. Extra words are rarely good. If the officer says, "Why not answer my question?" do not debate.
Just stay with the line. If they ask again, repeat it again. The power is in the repeat.
People lose this moment because they feel awkward. They want to smooth it over. So they say, "I'm not answering questions, but I only had one with food." That is the exact mistake. You gave the officer what they wanted. Never tack on a little confession. There is no such thing as a safe confession on the roadside.
There's only less damage or more damage. And one more thing.
Move slowly when getting your documents. If you need to reach, say what you're reaching for. That keeps things calm and safe. You can protect your rights without acting strange. You can be polite and protected at the same time. Are you learning this with the rest of us? And do you want more plain talk like this? Here's the next move. I call it the line check. The problem this solves is time. A stop that should end in minutes can stretch longer and longer. The longer it goes, the more pressure you feel. The more pressure, the more likely you talk. That is why you need clarity. You need to know if the officer is still holding you there. A lot of people just sit and wait. They hope the officer is done. They guess. Say exactly this. Am I being detained or am I free to go? This line matters because it asks for the status of the stop. Detained means you are held. Free to go means you can leave. Those are two very different things. This question forces the moment into the open. It makes the officer answer the real issue. It also helps you stop rambling. When you ask this, you're not making small talk. You're asking a direct, useful question that keeps your mind focused. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. I'm not your lawyer. If you are dealing with a serious situation, talk to a licensed attorney in your state. Now back to the move. This question works best when you ask it calmly. Do not sound daring. Do not sound sarcastic. Do not say it like a contest. Say it like you want a clear answer. That is because clarity protects you. If the officer says you're not free to go, now you know. You do not have to guess. You do not have to fill silence with stories. If you are free to go, the stop should end. And if the answer is vague, do not argue. Just repeat the question once. Keep it clean, keep it short. A lot of drivers never ask this because they are scared.
But fear makes people passive. Passive people sit in confusion. Confusion turns into talk.
Talk turns into trouble. This line gives you a small piece of control back. It does not magically end every stop. It does something better. It makes the stop honest. You stop operating in a fog. You stop wondering what the rules are. Also, do not ask, "Why are you doing this to me?" That question never helps. This one is better because it is practical. It asks the only thing that matters right then. Can you leave or not? That answer tells you your next move.
And if the officer keeps asking drinking questions after that, return to your silence line.
These lines work together. One protects your mouth, one checks your status. That is a strong combination. Calm questions beat nervous explanations every time. When you know where you stand, your fear drops. And lower fear means better choices. A clear mind is a safer mind. Ask the line and make them define the moment. Now this next one protects your space. I call it the no permission line. The problem here is simple. A lot of searches happen because drivers say yes, not because they had to, because they got nervous and agreed. An officer may ask to look in your car. They may say it casually. They may say, "You do not mind if I take a look, right?" That wording matters. It sounds small, it sounds harmless, but it is a request. And if you say yes, you gave permission. That can change a lot. Say exactly this. I do not consent to any searches. This line matters because it makes your answer clear. There is no maybe in it.
There is no opening in it. It is a clean no. Now listen carefully.
This line does not guarantee the officer will never search. They may claim legal grounds, but even then, your words still matter. You did not give permission. That can matter later in court when your lawyer reviews the stop record. A lot of people think they should explain the no. Do not do that. Do not say, "I do not consent because my friend left stuff in here." That is a disaster. Do not say, "I do not consent, but there is nothing bad in the trunk." That is worse. You just turned a refusal into a clue. Never decorate your no. Keep it dead simple. This line also protects you from pressure talk. Some officers use friendly pressure. They act like only guilty people say no. That is a trap. In America, saying no to a search is not an admission. It is a right. Rights only work when you use them. If you give them away, they are gone. Another mistake drivers make is physical resistance. Never do that. Do not grab the door. Do not pull away. Do not argue with your body. Use your words once, then stay calm. If the officer searches anyway, do not fight. Just make sure your no was clear. That is the goal. Clear words, calm body, no consent. This line also helps your mindset. It reminds you that you do not have to agree just because someone asks. A request is not the same as an order. That is important. When people forget that, they say yes under pressure. Then they regret it later. You want to leave the stop knowing you did not hand over your car with your mouth. That matters. You cannot control every move, but you can control whether permission came from you. That is a huge difference. Your calm no protects your ground. A locked mouth keeps doors closed. No permission means no free pass. Is there someone in your life who needs this? Share it now. Here's the last move. It matters most if the stop gets worse. I call it the lawyer lock. The problem this solves is what happens after the roadside moment. Many drivers hold it together at first.
Then things get serious. They get scared. They start talking. That is when worse damage happens.
Maybe they get told to step out. Maybe they are arrested. Maybe they are taken to a station. In that fear, people try to explain everything. They think honesty will let them go. That almost never works. Instead, they give more statements that can be replayed later. That is why this final line matters. Say exactly this. I want a lawyer, and I am not answering questions. This phrase is your hard stop. It is clear and direct. It asks for help and shuts down interviews. A lawyer is trained to protect you in a serious case. Once you ask, you should stop talking. Do not say the line and then keep explaining. Do not say, I want a lawyer, but here's what happened. That is self-sabotage. The line only works if your mouth stays closed after it. Questions and chemical tests are not the same thing. Rules about tests can change by state.
Some states have serious penalties for refusing tests after an arrest. That is why you need a lawyer.
On the question side, this line is strong. It tells everyone that talking is over. Do not worry about looking guilty. Trying to look innocent by talking is how people bury themselves. You do not talk your way out. You protect yourself by stopping the damage. That is smarter. This line also helps you mentally. Once you say it, you have a job. Your job is silence. No long speeches, no emotional stories, no trying to win approval. That takes pressure off you. When people know the next step, panic drops. If an officer keeps pushing, repeat the line. Do not invent a new answer. If they act annoyed, stay calm. Annoyed is not dangerous. Your goal is not to make them happy. Your goal is to stop helping build the case. Fear makes you overtalk. Fear makes you confess small details. Fear makes you think one sentence fixes it. Usually it does the opposite. The lawyer lock ends that cycle. It draws a clean line. You are not helpless anymore. You have a phrase and you have a plan. Simple words save you. Ask for the lawyer and close the door. Let's lock this in. First, use the quiet reset. Second, use papers only. Third, use the line check to ask if you are free to go. Fourth, use the no permission line. Fifth, if things escalate, use the lawyer lock and stop talking. You now know something most drivers never will. You have simple lines for a moment that scares everyone.
You are not helpless anymore. You are trained, calmer, and harder to trap with your own words.
Pick one line from this video and memorize it tonight. If you get pulled over, use it calmly. Then come back and tell us how it went. Stay calm, know your rights, and do not talk yourself into trouble.